When you think about India, you really have to think about its rivers. They're so much more than just water. They're the cradle of ancient civilizations. They're arteries of trade. And for millions, they're sacred sources of life itself. Today, we're going to trace the paths of these amazing river systems and really dig into why they are the true lifelines of the nation. Yeah, this quote right here, it absolutely hits the nail on the head. A country's prosperity is just so deeply tied to its water. And in a place like India, you can see that prosperity literally flowing through its incredible network of rivers. Okay, so to really get a grip on India's rivers, you've got to know that they basically come from two very different families. On one hand, you have the Himalayan rivers. These guys are born from snow and glaciers, so they flow strong all year round. But then you've got the peninsular rivers. They rely almost entirely on rainfall, which means they swell up during the monsoon and then shrink back down in the dry season. This one difference, believe me, shapes everything for millions of people. So let's kick off our journey up north with the absolute giants of the river world, the mighty, snow-fed Himalayan rivers. And first up is the vast, sprawling Indus River system, which you might also hear called the Sindhu. What's just so striking here is the sheer scale of it all. The Indus starts its journey way up high on the Tibetan Plateau, travels for almost 3,000 kilometers, and collects water from all these major tributaries before it finally pours into the Arabian Sea. It's truly one of the world's great river basins. And to put that whole journey into perspective, think about this. Of its total massive length, over 1,100 kilometers of it flows just within India, carving this incredible path through the landscape. That's a huge stretch of land shaped by just one river. Okay, so from the Indus in the west, let's turn to what is, you could argue, India's most important and most sacred river, the Ganga. The Ganges story starts way up in the Himalayas at the Gangotri Glacier. From there, it flows for over 2,500 kilometers, gathering more and more water from huge tributaries like the Yamuna until it finally reaches the Bay of Bengal. This single river basin supports hundreds of millions of people, which makes it one of the most vital waterways on the entire planet. And this little breakdown just perfectly shows how dynamic these rivers are. See, the Ganga isn't just one single static stream. It actually starts out as the Bhagirathi, then it merges with the Alaknanda to officially become the Ganga. And then, as it gets close to the sea, it splits. The main branch heads into Bangladesh, joins up with the Brahmaputra, and gets a new name, the Meghna, before it hits the ocean. It's a river with multiple identities. Our final Himalayan giant is the Brahmaputra. And wow, this one has a fascinating story. Where it starts in Tibet, it's actually known as the Songpo, which means the purifier. The path this river takes is just wild. It flows east parallel to the Himalayas for a really long time, and then it makes this dramatic hairpin U-turn around a mountain peak to just thunder down into India. As it moves through the state of Assam, it gets so wide and carries so much silt that it forms Majuli, which is Asia's largest river island. Think about that. A river so big, it has whole islands inside of it. Okay, so we've seen the snow-fed giants of the north. Let's travel south now to meet that second family, the ancient, rain-fed rivers of the Peninsular Plateau. And down here, the undisputed champion, the dominant river, is the Godavari. It's so important that people often call it the Dakshin Ganga, which means the Ganga of the south. And you know what? It's a fitting title. At 1,500 kilometers long, it is by far the largest of the peninsular rivers. It rises in the Western Ghats and flows all the way across the Deccan Plateau. So here's the key thing to notice. Most of these big southern rivers, the Mahanadi, the Krishna, the Kaveri, they all flow east, emptying into the Bay of Bengal. But then you've got these two rebels, the Narmada and the Tapi. They're the big exceptions. They actually flow west through these deep rift valleys and empty into the Arabian Sea. This whole east-west divide is a really key feature of the geography down there. All right, so we've traced their paths on a map, but let's talk about why these rivers are so much more than just lines on a map. They are, and this is no exaggeration, the true engines of India's prosperity. They're literally the backbone of the economy. Their water irrigates the fields that feed over 1 billion people, they create pathways for boats to transport goods, and they generate clean hydropower. But their importance runs even deeper than that. They hold this immense cultural and religious meaning for millions and millions of people. But this deep reliance, this deep connection has put an enormous amount of pressure on these vital lifelines. And that's led to some really serious challenges. and what some are calling a looming crisis. Because all this development, all this life that the rivers support, it's taking a toll. So what exactly is threatening these incredible river systems? Well, the short answer is pollution, and it's coming from all sides. You've got untreated sewage from cities that are just growing so fast, you have industrial chemicals being discharged right into the water, and then there's all the runoff from farms carrying pesticides and fertilizers. It's a combination that's literally choking the life out of these rivers. Which leaves us with this incredible and kind of heartbreaking paradox. In India, rivers are worshipped as goddesses, as these sacred givers of life. And yet, at the same time, these very same rivers are struggling to survive.